Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? How was your weekend? I'd love to hear how your weekend was in the comments down below. Hopefully your weekend was even half as good as mine was. I had a really good weekend. Saturday was a bit of a lazy day. I did get to spend some time down here, thus this cleanup. I have an old, somebody gave me like an old 4-bulb light fixture with the dual ballasts, and I hung it on Saturday. I had it here on the table and everything was working, and then I hung it and 2 of the lights wouldn't work. And what I found out was that one ballast had been replaced, the other one had not, and the one that had not is like super OG, and the wiring like corroded and fell apart. The sheathing on it dried out, essentially. So, that was my Saturday. Yesterday, in spite of this gigantic winter storm that we had, it wasn't that big, I decided to drive to Pennsylvania to visit my friend Scott, who I made the characters for. And it was his birthday, and another friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours from Cleveland, drove down, and I drove up. We like about equidistance from Scott's, and we played board games all day, and it was awesome. And I got to make a new friend, which is a friend of Scott's or his wife's. I'm not sure who she's a friend of, but she plays board games with them quite a bit, so that was really cool. And we got to play lots of fun stuff, which is really good. I've been really out of touch with board gaming lately. Well, for like the last at least year, maybe year and a half. I've just been really out of touch. I've been taking much less of a responsibility with what's going on at Portal Games, and then we have an actual, U.S. employee now, so I don't really do much there anymore. Which means that I'm just out of touch. I don't know what's going on in the gaming industry. And for the last year, I think maybe I've gone to the game night at the library like twice. It just hasn't, my schedule has not worked. I started working from home on Wednesdays hoping that I would get to go to that more often because I'd be home and I could just go. But then I have Keeley most Wednesdays, so I don't get to go. But that's okay. So I got to go play a bunch of new stuff that I had never played. Like, I played Wingspan, which is a really fun game that I guess is kind of the hotness right now because it was a Stonemaier game, so I don't think it's out yet, but I got to play it and stuff like that. But all of that said, I turned in the shapes that Scott ordered, and he really liked them. He thought they turned out great. I thought they turned out terrible, and I would have gladly spent many more days trying to get them up to my standards. And that really got me thinking a lot about this project. I think about this project a lot because I've had a lot of people tell me, quite a few people have told me they really want a maple pencil holder, pen holder for their desk. And I can make these. The problem is the template that I have, this corner right here and down here is a little tighter than a 1/4 inch radius, so a 1/4 inch bit won't fit in there. So I tried to use a stopped collared bushing, which leaves this funky line where that happens because I have to cut this in 2 passes. This is kind of a pain. And the project that I did for Scott was much more intricate than this. Some of them had really bizarre cuts and like back cuts and stuff, undercuts. So whereas this, I could now cut, and then I could, with my new sander, I could sand all this perfect, and I could sell this as this. I could only sell this shape, and I still can't do these parts perfectly. I think the method that I used on Scott's, which worked out really well, was to drill these corners out first. So I drilled all of these holes, and then did the cutting, and then sanded to my lines, and that worked out really well. And I think I could employ that here, but both that project and thinking about someday maybe being able to release more Meeple-based products, like desk projects and stuff like that. And I'd really love to have a CNC. The problem is they're really expensive. the smallest of the X carves, which is kind of like the YouTube. X carve seems to give everybody on YouTube an X carve. If you have over a couple 100,000 subscribers and you're a maker, you can get an X carve. I don't have a couple 100,000 subscribers. Don't think I ever will. So they're not going to give me an X carve anytime soon because they're about $1,500. I think the cheapest one is $1,300, and that's not including shipping. So $1,500 is the entry model, and it's big, and it would cut this very easily. And I could use a tiny bit, so it means I could get really nice corners, and I wouldn't have these big, broad, sweeping corners. I've been thinking about it. They have a payment plan where you can pay like $120 a month until it's paid off, and if I could generate enough sales of these to know that I could continue making payments, it might be worth it for me. Because not only could I do this, specifically make the desktop pen holder thing that I've always wanted to make, I can make all sorts of other stuff with it that I could then turn around and sell. The question is, will I? I don't know. So currently $1,500 is way outside of my price range, like an order of magnitude outside of my price range. So I've been watching Ivan Miranda here on YouTube. He does a whole lot of 3D printed amazingness. He recently used his 3D printer and some aluminum square tubing and made a CNC, and it turned out great. It turned out way better than I expected it to, and I think he was able to pull that off pretty inexpensively. I can't say for sure how inexpensively. I'm not even going to try and guess, but I would guess it was $500 or less would be my guess. And I think I could swing $500 or less knowing that I could make, I don't know, say 30 of these to pay that off or something like that. So it's been on my mind, and I've been really thinking about it, and I think I'm going to continue to think about it for quite a while because obviously I can't afford it. But I really want to make these. I really want to bring this out. This product has been almost a year in the making now, and I still haven't produced it for you to get a hold of. And I want to, because I've had at least 15 or 20 people tell me they would immediately buy one, maybe two. So if I sold it for $20, which is what I'd have to sell it to currently to even break even on it, with my time, that is, that's a head start. $400. That's yeah. So that's where I've been at. That in my head, that's what I'm thinking. A CNC would be a blessing. So I might try to put together some sort of media package and see if I can't find a CNC company who would be willing to take a risk on me. I don't need the 4x4 X-Carve. I need something that can do like a 12 by 12 inch space. And I know there are CNC manufacturers out there that make tiny little desktop CNCs. The problem is I need the spindle to be strong enough to do something this thick and out of hardwood. So it has to be a decent spindle, or else the whole thing is useless to me. So I might try to see if somebody will help me. Otherwise, like the table saw, it might be just another thing we save up for as a group. And I might lean on you for help there, and maybe we can pull something together, and I don't know. I keep thinking about it. I had a great weekend. I hope you did too. I thank you for being here as always. I thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, being wonderful people. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from kidshealth.org. How long does it take for your body to digest a piece of gum? You might have heard that swallowed gum stays in your stomach for 7 years. That's not true. Though your stomach can't break down a piece of gum in the same way it breaks down other food, your digestive system can move it along through normal intestinal activity.